Africanism orientation is all about. Not Africanism in terms of the color of the skin, but in terms of the understanding of where we are as a black nation, where we come from. And we need to be very radical and strategic about that. We need to articulate this position to say, we really need change, we need to move forward. So, as the Baba was actually indicated, one thing that we don't like in our company is poverty. Hey, I don't like poverty, I hate poverty. Because poverty leads to criminality, poverty leads to killings, poverty leads to many things. And we believe that one of the enemies of poverty is entrepreneurship. One of the enemies of poverty is agriculture. One of the enemies of poverty is unity. I've never seen a nation that is united and poor. I've never seen it. I've never seen a nation that is really championing entrepreneurship as a business and really poor. I mean, the history of Africa, I can tell you that. It's a very clear history in terms of how they emancipated themselves from the chains of poverty after the Anglo-Boer War to where they are today. We rely on them, we learn from them. That's a perfect history. So for as long as we don't mobilize and become united around the agricultural sector, we will never get rid of poverty. We will never. So as a company, we focus on that. Entrepreneurship, agribusiness, to address the socio-economic challenges that are facing us, not only in South Africa, but across the continent. We have the capacity to support startups, SMEs, to participate in different levels of the value chain in the mainstream of economy. In our 15 years of experience, I don't remember any sector that we did not assist. Every fourth ranger that we see on the street, one of the manufacturers was actually getting advices from us. The company that was manufacturing the bumpers for Ford Ranger, Rusticana, go to Ford Motors, you'll find them. The company that is manufacturing the dashboard for Ford Motors is one of our clients. We have assisted many companies. I'll show you some of the examples. Some of our clients are in the retail stores. If you go to Food Lovers and look at different products, I don't mention names, but if you get there, they will tell you that these are the products of Mabule International. So we understand the challenges within the value chain we have been doing for the past 15 years. Our services entails access to market, business mentorship and coaching, BEE advisory, strategy, entrepreneurial training, funding facilitation, business development and support. Let's go to the next slide. We have experience in cultivating a culture of entrepreneurship where jobs are created and skills and knowledge transferred. So we measure ourselves against the number of jobs that we created, the companies that have actually changed the economic fiber. How many rands were you having when you came to us? Where are you now? And how do you move forward? We're based in Gauteng. Our head office is in Pretoria. We have an office in Heidelberg, and we have an operation in Limpopo, and we have strategic partners across 9 provinces. Now, in our 15 years of experience, this is what we've learned. And I thought maybe it's important for us to share with you what we've actually learned. Because the entrepreneurial challenges in this country are the same to everyone. And what we have found is that there's a lack of self and personal mastery. You have entrepreneurs that don't know themselves. Now, studies have proved that one of the fundamental impediments, one of the impediments to entrepreneurial success in the country is the whole issue of personal mastery, self-mastery, mindset. Entrepreneurship is attitude. Entrepreneurship, once you think of rent and cents, you'll get it wrong. There are some self and mastery exercises and capacity building programs that you must participate in prior to you making money. That's what we found. You can look at the Alan Gray Office Foundation, you can look at other studies, they'll tell you that you must understand yourself first, understand your traits, understand your attributes, understand your strong points and your weaknesses. Stephen Covey talks about inside-out approach. You must understand what is inside prior to the environmental circumstances. Otherwise, you'll miss the boat. This includes the area of passion. Many of our entrepreneurs just follow the crowd. No, this boy, my brother, started a construction company from nothing. Hey, Jali, construction. Right? That's the challenge that we have. One sister put tomatoes here. 3 months later, get line tomato fake. So that's the problem. We need to look at ourselves and say, who am I? What are my areas of passion? What are my areas of talent? What is it that I'm passionate about? That should be the point of departure. Otherwise, you'll miss the boat. So that's why when they encounter some obstacles, they change. Today, somebody is doing garden services. Tomorrow is cleaning. Tomorrow, the next day, Baba, Menagi General, Shayonging, from agriculture to zoology. So if you check, I'll be very quick, don't worry. If you check, many of successful entrepreneurs that are actually dominated the economic landscape, both in South Africa and outside, are people that were able to master that one. Self-mastery. Not educational qualifications, not connections that you have. You can mention them. If you go outside, you can talk of Steve Jobs, you can talk about whoever you can talk about. They are university dropouts. Some of them don't even have matric. Some can't even write their names. Right? But they were able to understand that part. So I'm emphasizing it because that's the reason why we have a high failure rate of young people in the entrepreneurial landscape. Because of following the crowd. Now it also entails positive mental attitude development, self-discovery, self-development, because you cannot develop what you don't know. You must understand yourself and your weaknesses so that you will know that these are the areas that need to be developed. As a point of departure, prior to you going out and selling and so on, you must say, I'm passionate about 1, 2, 3. In our personal mastery training, because we provide personal mastery training to companies. Last month I presented one to Gibela Business Incubator. In all entrepreneurial training programs, I always start with this one. To say, if you have your incubators not mastering this art, you run the risk of having them despondent along the way and dropping out. Right? Lack of entrepreneurial skills and insufficient managerial capacity. Now I'm talking entrepreneurial skills, practical. Right? Not all this academic and scholastic information that is on Google and textbooks. We need to agree. We need to agree about these issues. Some of my clients are MBAs graduates from best business schools in the world, but they can't run their own businesses. You know those people. Some have PhDs in business administration, but they can't run their businesses. Because the education system has been structured in such a manner that you run a business that has systems and processes and procedures, not entrepreneurship. So when somebody has MBA from Gibbs, you find a company, others share, let's total, let's shop right. It's not going to stretch his head. You say, a laptop, these are the client, Shona Corner. But when you start a business, it's a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame. Right? So that's why I'm talking about practical entrepreneurial knowledge. Remember, in entrepreneurship, you get clarity when you are moving. You can have business plans and strategies and so on. But you'll realize when you hit the road that those things mean nothing. You must take your stuff and get into the road and sell. Move on. That's how you learn. That's entrepreneurship. Not all the scholastic and erudite stuff on Google and textbooks, how to go make million and so on. Those things don't work. And I'm basing this on my 15 years of experience, looking at practical entrepreneurs that succeeded in the whole thing. Vusi Temperguy used to talk about taking yellow pages, buying airtime, sitting down and calling people one by one. Not developing a nice strategy, 40 pages with graphs. Oh, you'll be late. Lack of information. One of the challenges facing entrepreneurs in the country. I always tell people, don't tell me about access to market. Don't tell me about access to finance. What is fundamental is information. Because when you have information, you realize that the entrepreneurial challenges that you have can be solved. Now, I just want to ask this question as an example with regard to that particular point. How many of you know that you can run business internationally and government pay for your trips? It's either you want to do market research in SADC or Europe, government will pay for that. You will sell your stuff in Germany, government pays for that. How many of you know that? Okay, so at least I'm not lying, you see. Yeah, I like that. Right? So that's why I have a problem with the issue of access to market. I have a problem with that. But I understand when people say access to information. We don't have information. I understand that part. Right? Go to DTI website and look at the scheme called EMIA scheme, for example. And I know, or I already know some of our members here, including our women leader there, who has been traveling all over the world through such programs.
It's in about EMIA scheme.
EMIA, E-M-I-A, Export Marketing King here. Right? You can apply to do primary research in Latin America or in Europe, and those costs can be covered. There's a roster, 12 months for multi-sectoral. I had a client who was manufacturing the, what do you call these things? These are things, maowa and, what do you call them? Crafts, you know? I wonder if you go to the zoo and unit building, you'll find Abu Mama selling them there. Stock or Santos like another this table. I had that client from Moloto who was selling that stuff. When I was assisting that client, she was doing 20,000 per annum. And in 12 months later, when I checked the turnover, she was sitting at 850,000. Now you can check how many percent increase. But the question is how? Right? She realized that when tourists come to Africa, and to South Africa in particular, they don't want to buy something that you can find in London. When an American comes and say, I'm visiting Africa, he doesn't want to buy something that you'll find in New York. Right? But you'll find, buy mabowa, you know, and an old man there, one of the crafting. And when you tell him that is 10 rand, then he'll give you $10, and you check how much is it. And you say it's 50 rand, they'll give you 50 euros. They are tourists, they are rich. And he realizes these people like the African craft. Now, he partnered with Abu Gogo from Moloto side and Tbefontein and so on, and collected these things from them. And through DTI scheme, he decided to go and sell these things in Europe. Then he moved from 20,000 to 850,000. And I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years ago. I believe now she's a multi-millionaire. She was not manufacturing that. Business. Yeah, yes, the cuckoo. What are you cuckoo for? No, not the bamboo. Logowa. Yeah? Yeah, it's a mat. Who did you go fella kama shaka Yes. Kanzi is Zulu. Yes. Now a white man will buy that for 4,000 and put it in his house somewhere in Europe there. You know, because it's something from Africa. Again, even if when you go to Germany, you want to buy something from Germany. You say, this is German, my friend. What's a good German? Not what I'm doing. And the lady was wise to say, no. This is globalization. We are one nation. Let me pack this thing, speak to DTI. DTI will pay for everything. I'll go to Europe, sell. I will go to Latin America. I will go to Asia, and I'll come back from 20,000 to 850,000 in 12 months. He's solving a problem. He saw the gap. He understands herself. Right? That is lack of information and the value chain knowledge. I'll actually explain briefly about the issue of the value chain, because we need to unpack this value chain. What are we talking about? You know, we talk about some concepts that have so many connotations. We talk about things like market. Who is the market? Because market is people and people is us. So it means we are complaining about something that we have. It says that we are not united and structured to access what we have. That's why the concept of localization comes in. Local procurement. Defining competitive advantage. When you solve a problem as an entrepreneur, you must ask yourself this question. What makes me different from others? What is my unique selling proposition? If they invite 20 or 30 speakers or sellers, what is it that will make me different from them? That's the question that you must ask yourself. Because competition is very rampant. There's competition, there's trade barriers, but you must be able to say, it does not matter. I'm moving on. And we have examples of such people in this country. It doesn't matter if within the soccer, the sports fraternity or business we have. I don't want to waste time with that. There's so many examples. Right? Improving customer service. No, but this thing of thinking that because something is sold by a black guy that is inferior, we need to move away from that. That's why I don't like the statement about 100% black owned, BEE. No, customer service for render the service, give service to the people, sell quality products. Customer service should not be a lip service type of arrangement. Now here is a question. How many of you have customer service surveys or customer evaluation forms in your business, either digital or manual? How many of you?
We do.
Then you are not in business. You are not in business, guys. You cannot address that. How will you know that the customer is satisfied with your service? How many of you, after Uber, rate us? WhatsApp call, rate us. Every big business rate us. But why are you not doing the same? How will you know that the customer is satisfied with your service? So in your business, after you've offered every service, you must have the forms that says, fill here, don't write your name, and be honest. How was our service? Will you recommend other people? Did we communicate with you well? Is packaging all right? What is it that you don't like about this business? Now, you will be able to boldly say, I'm improving my customer service. Because the feedback that people will write there will actually assist you to improve. And we are not doing it. But big companies are doing it. Every company. Every MTN, WhatsApp, no rate us. Because they want to understand what is the problem. And that leads to what is called customer loyalty. Because once you sharpen your line of services, clients become loyal to you. Then you absorb them. Then they are part of you. Then you'll never leave them. Then they become obsessed and addicted to your offerings. Business growth, general business principles, lack of knowledge about business relationships, both personal and business. And I'd like to emphasize that one. You cannot run business in isolation. You can't be a business person and not belong to business organizations. And that's what I like about Africa. You know, I like Africana. I like Africana. Because if you look at their formations, if you look at their networks, if you look at their relationships, and you ask yourself, it will take us many years. Because there's no way that we can give each other opportunities if you don't have formations and linkages. Right? What makes us different? I've said a lot about our 15 years of experience, broader knowledge in the enterprise space, full understanding of government economic cluster. I have 9 years in government economic cluster, so I know all corners of government when it comes to opportunities and incentives. We participate in that for strategic reasons. So you're confusing, Mrs. Speaker. I must tell you to move. Okay, go back. Right? Practical knowledge of experience, and so on and so forth. We participate in the manufacturing, logistics, and so on. Move to the next slide. We are accredited with AFASA. We are accredited with Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transportation of South Africa. That is MILT International Grading. We have run a lot of operations from maize and so on. So when you talk logistics, when you talk transportation, when you talk transportation of marijuana and so on and all other stuff, we can talk about that. AFASA membership, we are part of BRICS Business Council, agribusiness. We sit with all powerful formations, agribusiness formations that we can think of in the country. And every time when I attend their meetings, I'm telling you, I shake my head and say, for as long as you don't come together and be united, it will take us not less than 100 years for a black man to be where African community is, Africana community. You look at how they're structured in terms of their maize trust, sorghum trust. Go and Google it, just write agricultural business chamber and visit it after this meeting. We need these formations. We need this type of leadership, Catherine. Right? We are part of skills committee to link our farmers with the international market. We are part of Landness membership, right? With some of your leadership here. At BRICS, we sit with a membership manager, and then at Landness, we are sitting with Intutu there, your NEC member. And this is a multi-party stakeholder for Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. That is all farmers associated within the country, land, governance, farmers, and so on. Now, agribusiness value chain. That's why I'm saying we need to unpack this one day. We need just to sit down and unpack it. Because if you talk of the agricultural sector, my brother said something very interesting. He said, and he studies, 60% of the arable land in the world is in Africa. 60% of the land that is arable in the world is in Africa. So it means, but Africa is very poor. So Africa has capacity to feed the 9 billion people that will be around 2030. But Africa is very poor. But it has land. Something is not right. We need to unpack that part. Because we can plant marijuana, we can increase vegetables, but once we don't actually unpack that, we will never come right for as long as we don't have seeds manufacturing company. You can't. You will never come right because you don't have irrigation systems manufacturing company as members of AFASA. You can't. So we can have 60% arable land, but we need to be part of the value chain. We need to say this company, Gakata was producing our own pesticides. This one is doing seeds. This one is doing fertilizers. Then we can talk agribusiness value chain. Correct? Right. That is the value chain. You need actors. We are not actors in the value chain. We are beggars. Which actions are we taking? It's about linkage. It's about markets. So it's a set of linked activities. So we need to arrive at the point where we're able to produce our seeds, our fertilizers, and so on. We're real actors. And we move. When we take action, and we link our commodity groups, we link with our farmers, then I would say we understand our value chain. Next. Knowledge and information. We need to understand these players, these areas in the value chain. The issue of finance. For as long as we still have our own government that talk to us as if we are rich people, then something is not right. Something is not right. Because I agree, the Triple BE speaks about addressing the imbalances of the past. The National Development Plan speaks about 1%, 90% employment by 2030 through SMMEs, 1 million jobs through the agricultural sector, but 99% of the emerging farmers don't have money for inputs. That's what I asked President Mbeki one day in one of our discussion. To say, why do you turn land bank into a commercial entity? Because if you go to land bank today, it's just another AFASA, another Africa, another FNB. But in the past, when the Afrikaners were structuring it, it was to champion their own interests so that they can access these resources and move forward. Look where they are now. It will take us not less than 50 years. For as long as we're still seen as people that have money, even though we don't. I don't want to talk about the payment system and social capital. We don't believe in crowdfunding. We don't believe in collaboration. We don't want to work together. We want to compete. Then we can't be powerful. We can't be part of the value chain. Because value chain is about collaboration, my brother. I give you this, you give me that, we create a force. But unfortunately, as that is, we don't have a history of collective achievement. We can fight apartheid together, but we can't build anything together. And we come and talk about the value chain. Which value chain? These are the value chain fundamentals. For as long as we don't have visionary and principled leadership, we must forget about the value chain. Because the value chain is the result of that. You need strong leaders. For as long as we still have leaders, when they are elected in these black formations, the first thing that you look at is Nakijajwam. But people must pay their membership fees. Then we will never get it right. We will never get it right. One leader of an agribusiness formation some years ago, I was sitting with him in a consultation meetings because we were part of the consultation processes, Minister during the agri-parks formations and so on. Now, after the meeting, I'm under impression that because this guy is a national leader, is leading the farmers, we'll sit down and talk about how we'll help the farmers. Now he sent me to his own people, on group. Yeah, go 45 on a lake house. How feel more about our business, but in the name of your organization? What type of leadership is this? For as long as you don't have that visionary and principled leadership, you will never get it right. Because an African is not doing it that way. They believe in that collaboration. They work together. Cooperation, collaboration, move forward, my sister. So these are services to young farmers. Now, this is what I was requested to talk to you about. That was just an introduction. So this is... so give a right to the lady farmers. Yeah? Yeah, I was humbly requested and instructed by this gentleman to say, Mr. Mabule, please, we read about the good work that we're doing. Please come and talk to our farmers and indicate how you can assist them. Now, the first one I've spoken about, self and personal mastery. You will never, ever, for as long as you don't master that, you will never come right. You have Cristiano Ronaldo today because of that. You have Lionel Messi today because of that. You have whoever that you can think of in this country is because of that. Vusi Tembe wouldn't have slept in a car or basement there for some months if he did not understand that. He would have said, no, I have MBA, let me go and look for a job. Today is a powerhouse. We are proud of him as a black excellence. I can mention there are many fertilities. You know those examples. There are many. Mentorship and coaching. We provide mentorship and coaching to emerging farmers. You'll see the companies that have been advising and enterprise development programs that we're part of. We coach professionals that are resigning from their employment, want to start businesses. We help farmers that say want to grow, want to access the market. I don't know, some of you here know my office. Some of your members, we're assisting them. My colleagues there at the back, at our desk there, Mabule International, Mr. Patrick. Last time, I think you saw on TV when the president was giving title deeds to farmers in Tafelkop. You remember, no? Yes, we were invited to come and take over that project and advise those farmers. And we were very grateful to South African government. It was because of our experience. We didn't pay George or anything, we just got a call to say, please be there. You know, we have a knowledge about what you guys do. We provide entrepreneurial training and technical training. We also accredit with AgriSeed and so on. We provide BE advisory and training. Compliance certificates. We also assist with that, from quality management systems to the so-called, Pick and Pay will talk about things like the in-tax, which is that another strategy to marginalize our people. Because how can you have a global practice if you're still operating at the local level? Access to market and sales increase, that's what we specialize in. Project financing, from pure financing. If you've got a project and you want money, come and talk to us. If you've got a project from a reputable company, it doesn't matter how many thousands, we'll assist you to run a project. In any sector, it doesn't matter, it's construction, it's supply, it's engineering, you have 1 million, 2 million, 5 million project, you want assistance, we have strategic partners that focus on that. We worked on grants and incentives. My brother Sia there spoke about the TTFs. We have assisted many. We gave him some of our clients in terms of the TTF, 600,000. It was not a dream, it's true. Now, if somebody can give you 600,000 worth of equipment without contributing a cent, then you can imagine how your balance sheet will look like. Then you cannot fail to be a millionaire. Right? So we understand those grants. The EMEA schemes that we're talking about. Now we have the NYDA grants. All young people, obviously, under the age of 35, we're in partnership with NYDA to assist them with grants from 50,000 to 150,000. And again, also the issue of access to market, which I was requested by some of our senior members to say, Mr. Mabule can help, because we have off-take agreements with the Tiger brand, we have topic agreements with the Corporasi and so on. Business and relationships, we assist entrepreneurs to understand the power of relationships. I did not study business. But through business relationship, I saw myself doing entrepreneurship program at UNISA. I did not pay a cent. I did an advanced program at University of Pretoria. I did not do a cent. I studied a small at University, Northwest University. I did not pay a cent, but it was through relationships. So you must utilize your networks and relationships in such a manner that they champion your business and your personal development. Because your networks must be your net worth. If you have 40,000 people in your phone book, the question, are they giving you rent and cents? If not, they are not important. Why keeping them? This is our client, Psych Enterprise Development. Now, just on another Psych Enterprise Development, they will come and say, Mr. Mabule, please come and mentor our SMMEs. We have 40 or 10 or 20 multi-sectoral. Then we actually assist them. The BS Enterprise Development, we're very proud to get invitation from the BS Musina to assist entrepreneurs both in Magalagyon and Messina. And I can't forget what they told us, and I feel very humble about it. They said, Mr. Mabule, the reason why we invited Mabule International to Limpopo, while we have an obligation to appoint local service providers, is because we could not get any company in Limpopo to run this project. And we said, thank you, we're very proud. Seed Academy is a flight center, enterprise development implementation service provider. We still have a contract with Innovation Hub to assist in terms of commercialization of some of this concept. Young people are known for innovation and so on. So once we have innovated now, we must put down and put comments to that particular invention. That's our expertise. We still have a contract with Innovation Hub. Gibela Business Incubator. We assist them. AFASA, we even provided them with leadership and critical thinking. Because as an entrepreneur, you must be a critical thinker. You can't just accept. What the big has taught me is that, you know what, as a young man, when you are a thought leader, if you want to be a leader, you must question everything. Because certain things are hidden in certain things. Right? CEDA, NYTA, agribusiness, manufacturing. I'm proud of this. Just few of our clients. I think I put 2 slides in. Precious and Pearl. Go on Google and say Precious and Pearl. These young ladies. Other one is a mechanical engineer. The other one is a metallurgical engineer. They decided, after discovering themselves, personal mastery, self-mastery, remember, they said, no way. We don't see ourselves succeeding in life if we still base our moves on our qualifications. So these are certificates, PhD, but it still make me hungry. Yeah. He said, we're putting them aside. Modernize it, ginger juice, and sell it because we want to go for that. When I was advising them, they were operating from a garage. Yes, ma'am. They were operating from a garage in Montana. As I'm talking to you now, they are operating from a factory in Randburg. They are at Food Lovers franchises. They are going to put. And they are engineers. Now you see this. That's why I don't buy the issue of access to market, access to land, and so on. No, I don't buy those stories. Right? This is one of our farmers from Magurunga, where there's no running water, no electricity, nothing. But he decided to make it from the backyard. Next slide. Supply Roman's pizza, Galitos, Boxer, Pick and Pay from backyard.
So this is before?
Yes, this is before. Yes. You see, you put it. Yeah, this is after. Now look at the brains up there. Look at the brains. You talk Roman's pizza. You talk Galitos. You talk Boxer. You talk Debonair. You talk Pick and Pay from criminal land. Utilize what you have, my brother. Utilize what you have. It's a cut in a ribbon. That's what he did. Now this is my best client. And I want you to listen to this because I think these are my final slides. I want you to listen to this. This white guy is paralyzed from the neck to the tooth. Nothing is working. Right? He decided to go to Val River with the friends, and then they were diving from the bank of the river down there to the river, only to find that there's this sharp stone. And the whole electricity was gone. He's paralyzed from the neck to the tooth. So nothing is working. No problem. But he's a multi-millionaire. And he decided to manufacture a wheelchair that doesn't exist anywhere in the world. He manufactures electronic wheelchairs. These are the employees with 2 hands, 2 legs, everything working. Maria has employed them. Everything we design a country. So if you check Mona, but the only thing I should or draw a country or a phone country, everything in Mona. So you like a dashboard there high Mona. Or he uses the cheek to drive, he uses the mouth to draw, and the guys must manufacture. He's supplying all this wheelchair to Europe, Latin America, SADC. I think now he has over 10 employees. Nothing is working. Nothing is working. But because this one is working, and personal and self-mastery is very fundamental. He understands himself and he's gone. Now they go to him and say, we'll look for a job. And they say, but I can't even move. They say, but you are a multi-millionaire, Mr. Matic. Go on Google and say radical mobility. Hence the name of the company. You have Google on radical mobility. Get the first 4x4s wheelchair. It's a go beachy. It's a go placing. I can't get placing a lemaka. No sense. I can't go. Yeah, go on Google. Write it down. Radical mobility. Sure. Next time. Okay. We're done. Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do. Any questions? You can stand up. It's got a minimum of 1 Give a look one, give it in. Any question?
Wow.
No, thanks, my brother.